2, and 1. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of ArmTalk. I'm your host, Jody Williams, and today is a little international flavor, okay? One of the guys I respect on international level in arm wrestling, he's an Arm Wars legend, right? Neil Pickup dubbed him as Mighty Paul Maiden. Paul, welcome to the show.
Hi, Jody. How you doing, buddy? Nice to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, you know what? I appreciate that. And you know what? When Arm Wars was a thing, I guess now the archives and, the early version of Arm Wars. And I watched guys like you, Dan Thomas, Craig Sanders, and now we got Tom Holland, of course. And, the sport is going a long way. And if you don't mind, I'd like to talk about Arm Wars for a second. The difference between the Arm Wars now and the Arm Wars before. Can you tell everybody the difference between that and what's your thoughts on it?
Truthfully, I prefer the old Arm Wars rather than the new. Okay, the old Arm Wars was simple. It was made more for the more for the public. I think that it was just and the purest of arm wrestlers. I just want to see arm wrestling. I'm not really asked much about the talking scene. They had the get together like me and John Milne would have a argument, or you'd have your little 2-minute segments. But now it's more of a I don't know. It's more of a show in it. It's like reality TV. They're doing an amazing job. Like let's just put it out there right now. Like that James Statham, he is the editing king. He's brilliant. The matches have always been good from time ago. But yeah, I'm old school. Arm Wars. I prefer the old Trafford Centre stuff and the stuff in the leisure centres and the Trafford centres and now it's gone more to the Inoses, I think, as a competitor, because I've been there as a referee. And I find that you sort of lose the atmosphere from the people watching. You don't sort of get that bar feel, that sort of stadium feel you used to get in the, when you was going around the Arnold Classic or you was going to Olympia or wherever you was competing. But they do a great job. I mean, no matter which you prefer, it's lasted the test of time and it's doing an amazing job.
And for everybody in the chat that don't know, if you look up those Arm Wars archives, you can see what Paul is talking about, like the Tapper Center. It's like a big. Is it a mall? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's like Europe's biggest mall. It's gigantic, yeah. And they used to stick it on over weekends, and I think you're getting about 250,000 people over a weekend going. So there's a lot of foot traffic going through. And they did World Championships there, 2006, which at the time was the biggest worlds. I think 1,400 people, WAF.
Oh yeah.
So it's hosted some good stuff. I mean, the Arm Wars before it moved into the super match scenario. I mean, my first Arm Wars was 1999 in a little town called Blackburn, where Neil lives. Okay. And it used to be a tournament based, and there were no super matches. And then up to 2003, 2004, I think that's when it started moving off into the super match time. And then we saw Ron Bath and Devon Lorratt at Trafford Centre, 2006, I think that was. And then Wars then stopped tournaments altogether and moved off into the super match series. But they saw you. Have you got me there, Jordy? Yeah.
Yeah, I got you now. You were kind of going in and out. I got you now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we got Preacher Arm Wrestling here, Danny Earthquake, Phil Woody. We got the Welsh Wolverine. They're all in the house today. Welcome to the show, everybody. So those matches at the Trafford Center, and you see in the background, escalator going up, people stopping and watching. They're like, put down their shopping bags. Hey, what's going on here? And all of a sudden, everyone's gathering around the stage. And, we get to see you being all fired up against, Tommy Cochran and and things like that. And I love your intensity. And you know what? You keep it straight as an arrow. It's like, okay. And I just watching you excites me, and I like that. And took some time away from it, but now you're back as a referee. And are you full-time referee or do you still compete anymore?
Well, to be honest with you, I'm competing pretty. I went to IFA Worlds. I got second in Masters. Got seventh in the main one. Wayne Withers was there as well at the time. I think Wayne got 10th. Yeah, I've sort of knocked refereeing on the head a little bit. I'm all arm gods up, so I was doing a lot of the refereeing with arm wars, and then obviously seeing all that going down, and I was sort of hit a path where it was rather refereeing or competing, and the love for competing is still there. So yeah, after a little hiatus and just concentrating on doing a bit of reffing, I sort of said to Neil and what have you, that's me done. I want to concentrate on the arm wrestling, and I'm doing all right at the moment. Yeah, I'm got a match against Evan Begorn in January at the Arm Gods, January 14th. I'm going to give him a good dry bumming. That's coming.
Nice.
Yeah.
Here's a question from the Welsh Wolverine. He wants to know, when's Jody coming to Arm Gods? So speaking of Arm Gods, explain to everybody, what is Arm Gods? What's going on with that? Tell everybody the information, what we need to know about that.
Well, Arm Gods is taking over from Arm Wrestling Gods. It's something that me, Dino, who just put your question on, and a guy called Tom Atherton, we founded that Arm Wrestling Gods. And yeah, we was ticking over, was doing our promotional bits, putting the tournaments on, doing it more for the UK and Ireland pullers, not necessarily the internationals. And then I got in touch. You might have seen a guy called Marcus Thompson knocking around. They call him Money Slam. So
yes.
me and Marcus got chatting, and Marcus is he's a very shrewd businessman, and he said, Paul, have you ever thought about doing one or two different things, getting on the street, starting to mingle a little bit more, start to promote it a little bit better? And he's been teaching us a little bit behind the scenes on business models and stuff like that, not necessarily to make money, because I founded the PAA back in 2019, and for me, arm wrestling in the UK were dead. I mean, in the last nationals that Neil stuck on, there was 28 guys in there. It was ridiculous. It was terrible. So I said to Neil and quite a few other guys, I'm gonna really try and start pushing this. And we formed a thing called PAA UK and Ireland. And the first nationals that we had, which was last year, obviously we had COVID and stuff, we had 128 guys there. So we went from 28 to 128 in literally a year and a half of just getting out there, promoting the sport. And for us, it's all about giving back, because in America, you're blessed. I mean, you're like the size of Europe. You've got, you can have 400 guys at a tournament. We don't get that. We've got a few guys who are world level, and then the rest of the guys are not quite there. So we don't have the strength or depth to push up the level. But that's changing now, and that's changing dramatically. And that's because the key figures in the arm wrestling, the guys who were like Tom Holland, myself, the Tuts, there's a lot more guys that are, we just concentrating on giving back to our own in the UK and Ireland, and that's what arm wrestling is all about. So we starting getting subscribers and member money, and all that goes into paying for the travel for the UK and Ireland guys. So yes, we've got a big event in January. We've just had a big event, but we've got another one in January, and there's like 14 guys coming over from England, flying over to Ireland. So all their hotels and all the flights are paid for. And that's never been seen in England before. Arm Wars don't do that. Nobody does that. Not here. Not on this island anyway. And that's something massive for us. So that's what we're all about. It's all about giving back. So for the members who are going to be buying into it, you're going to get a couple of hours with me each week doing live seminars. I'm going to be traveling all over. We've got Rob Frampton, the strongman. He's going to be giving up some of his time. Dino. There's so many people. I've got strength coaches who work with Olympians who will be giving back. There's lots of things coming back to the members. And it's just, if you look after your own, Jody, they'll look after you. And it's just about building the mass sport massive. And that's what Arm Gods is all about.
And I like it. And Phil Woody said he'll be there in January. So, and there was another question. Preacher Arm Wrestling wants to double check and make sure it's January 14th. Yes,
correct. Yeah.
And you're pulling Beerman, Evan Begorn?
I certainly am. Yeah, he's
yes. You talk about a character. So, have you watched any footage of him? What do you think your chances are, or anything like that?
I'm going to absolutely dry bum him. I'm going to bend him over. I'm going to rub his bald head, tug his beard, and he's going to think it's his uncle back in 1974.
Because he has no outside game. He's all in hook, and if you stabilize that, He's like a little puppy dog.
Yeah, he ain't hooking me. He ain't hooking me. I mean, I've got some wicked up partners. I mean, James Wall training with Rustam Babiev, Carl Hutchinson. I'm getting plenty working with me guys at club as well. And if they're not putting me inside, I guarantee you that he's not putting me inside either. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be intense. I mean, normally he's the guy who's loud, he's brash, he's a little bit fiery, but
Right.
I'm not the right guy that he can play that game with. So if he thinks he's going to intimidate me, he's got another thing coming. But it's going to be fun. I'm going to look forward to the build-up. It's going to get a little bit dirty, a little bit mean, a little bit nasty, and it should be good fun.
Now, can we see that live on the PAA Community Arm Wrestling channel?
It's going to be live on the Arm Gods channel,
Okay.
possibly going through the Arm Gods website, because we've built in a streaming service within the website. The website will be live in about 10 days, and it's absolutely immense. I'll send you some stuff over next week, George. Let you have a sneak peek. It's unreal. I promise
Nice.
you. You've seen nothing like it in your life. It's just that good, and it's possibly going through there. But there could be a couple of little surprises, so it could be on somebody else's channel. We're just we're just waiting for a little bit of a confirmational chat with two really big names, and if that comes off, then we might have to put it on their channel, because it'd be that big of a match.
Now, Arm Gods, is that an invite only, or is that like one of those events you can just show up to? How does that work out?
Well, the ones in January 14th are all super pulls. Okay, so it's just literally super matches, as you guys call it, and they're pretty much on an invite basis. Or if people are interested in coming over, then we'll obviously look at that as well. We've got domestic belts, we've got international belts, so there's room for everybody. Another thing that we do as well to keep things funded and give back is that we run competitions as well. So I'm running a competition December the 10th. All the funds go to the Arm Gods to pay for the arm wrestlers to travel, and it's a novice tournament what we have. So what we're doing is we're paying for the guys who win the 80 kilo class, 100 kilo and above. We're paying for their flights and hotels to travel to Ireland to watch these matches, to inspire them to want to get better. So everything's about giving back, Jody. Always giving back.
I like that, because by we giving back, you pass the torch on, because someone did it for us. Now it's us to do it for the next group. So
well, it's the thing is, Jody, like, you've got to look at what arm wrestling's done for you. I've been through dark times. I know you've been through dark times, and
yeah.
There's one thing that we have in common, one thing that gets you through it all, and that's arm wrestling. So,
yes.
There's a lot of other people, thousands of people around the world, and that arm wrestling's helped out, saved their life even. And how can you not give back to something that's doing that? So it's just so easy for me. It's just a selfless act to give back, and it's just something that when I was lying in that hospital bed croaking it 3 times, or end of the day, that's all I thought about is getting back.
Well, and I would like to think, Paul, and I don't know if you agree, but when you, as yourself and myself, when we've been through tragic events in our life, it really puts things in perspective, and it's all about giving back. You give back with arm wrestling. I give back with the foundation that my wife and I run, and we do a tournament each summer, in our hometown. It's a fundraiser, in remembrance to our son. So when no one wants to go through that kind of stuff, but once you do, you look at life a little differently. It puts everything in perspective. It's all about giving back, and that's what you do. That's what I like to do. And all of a sudden, it's just a great feeling,
Yeah. A selfless act of giving back it makes you a happy person. It really does.
So Welsh wants to know, what was Paul's favorite match or favorite matches ever?
Oh gosh. Oh, I mean, usually the ones that I'm involved in. I think if I'm going to pick my own, 2009, me and Tommy Cocker going at it, and that was intense, because that was like a very early Arm Wars type matchup, and he rolled in ready at the time. I think he was knocking around about world number 5, And I was really playing that bit of cat and mouse. I just realised how strong I was actually getting. I was domestically unbeaten for about 3 years. And it was just an absolute war zone. And it was genuinely intense. And the editing on the show, what they did, they didn't show half of what were going on behind the scenes.
Oh, there was more?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Was that the first Arm Wars where you guys had the purple and yellow shirts?
Yeah, that was the one, yeah.
Yeah, I thought just watching that edited version, I thought, man, that was nice. And to see you say, oh, yeah, they didn't even get half what was going on. That tells me right there the intensity when you got two pullers, pulling for the same reason. They want to win,
See, Tommy, he was a strong dude. He was a fiery character, and it was something we could bounce off each other. There were no like sometimes people get accused of doing a bit of faking and making it a good match. Me and Tommy, we just went at it. Two alpha males really going at it. One little elbow foul, one little thing could have made a massive difference. It was just intense. It was strangles. There was all sorts going on, and it was immense. It was just really high class, nasty, intense arm wrestling, and I had a lot of those matches, and I've calmed down a little bit now. I'm calmer a little bit, but back in the day, I remember having one with a guy called Tony Christensen, and that was just oh gosh, it was just pure hatred. But I loved them. Like it's for me, I can turn it on and I can turn it off pretty quick.
Right.
I love the intensity. I love the the bravado of it all, and people think it's falsified, but it's not. It's just that's the emotion that comes out of me. I mean, some guys can smile all day and then just have a good match, and you usually see them on a practice table, and they're always at same level. But when it comes to competition, for me, I'm like 10 or 15% stronger, 10 or 15% better, because I've got to wake up in the morning. I've got to just meditate in bed. I've got to get myself focused. And then the minute I put my feet on the floor, I've got to stay in that mindset all day long. I can't be having people saying, oh, Paul, how's your missus? How's your kids? Because if I snap out of that mindset, I find it difficult to get back into that war scenario. And that's what's happening. You go into combat. Yeah, it's arm wrestling, but it's combat. And that's how I've always looked at it. And for me to be at my best, even when I was playing rugby as a young kid, I was always, 10, 15 minutes I'd always spend on my own when other team were laughing and joking. I needed to be in that mindset because end of the day, when I had that ball in my hand, I didn't want to score a try. I didn't want to get the points. I just wanted to break you in half. Every time I ran at you, I wanted to break you in half. And every time you ran at me, I wanted to take your head off. So, and that's the mindset that I've always carried through with my arm wrestling, and rightly or wrongly, or people like it, people don't. It didn't really matter to me because everything was real, and I just wanted to win.
Well, nice. We do have another question. We have a bunch of them actually. Preacher Arm Wrestling wants to know: has there been anyone from outside the country that come to compete at the show Arm Gods?
So we had the Arm Wrestling Gods, the one before we had Mindaugas Teresitis, and I'm sure you know him. And we had Oleg Tudorian, who's currently WAF number 2 or 3. We had them guys in an international belt match for the 86 kilo. We had them guys, and that was our first international. We had Alex Kadech coming over. He did a seminar at the same time. And then, obviously, this is the first Arm God show now, what we do in January the 14th. We've got Uncle John. He's coming over. He's facing one of our guys mixed up on the left hand.
Yes, I'll be seeing Uncle John in about 4 weeks.
Yeah, I like Uncle John. I like him. We've got Uncle John coming over. Maynard Denges, he'll be there. Daniel and Christensen will be coming. We'll also have a couple of surprises in there as well, which we can't really let go yet. So, yeah, we like I said, we're 95% going to be our UK pullers, UK and Ireland, and 5% internationals. But we've got some big names possibly coming as well. So
Jody, how often do you guys have these events?
Well, they're going to be about 4 times a year. They're going to be around about 4 times a year, yeah. And it'll be either England or Ireland, Scotland or Wales. That's where they'll be every time.
Right.
Yeah, we're just going to be looking at bringing in different pullers, different times. Have you seen the guy? I'm not quite sure of his full name. He's called The Nightmare. He's in the YouTube chats generally.
I'm not quite sure I have.
Well, he competed. I think he did the Arnold Classic qualifiers. I think he got fourth. Was it a couple of weeks ago? He's on about coming over. He wants to come and pull one of our guys. So he might be travelling. I think the current state of arm wrestling at the moment. I mean, obviously Rustam Babiev, he's my training partner now. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I know now. Wow.
Yeah. So Rustam, yeah, he lives like literally 20 minutes from my house now. So he's been training with us now for about 6 weeks in Club Torture. So that's a big plus for us. So he'll be at a couple of our Arm Gods events. But with the East versus West going on and King of the Table, a lot of the guys are holding out for the big money. And like I said, we're not quite there. We're not quite there yet. I mean, we could afford to get them because we have a couple of decent sponsors and backers, but we're not going that. We want it to be a sustainable business model where we're not relying on pay-per-views or other people to sign shirts and stuff. You know, we want to try and build it from the ground up. You know, little acorns, big trees grow. So that's what we're going to try and do is make it a sustainable business model. And when we're able to do that, then we can obviously venture out and then bring in some of the bigger matches that the world want to see. But again, that's not necessarily our aim. We're looking after the majority UK and Ireland with a bit of international flavour.
I'm glad you brought that up because what I like about something that what you guys are doing there, because all the elites are going to the King of Table, East versus West, and your promotion that you guys are starting over there. Now, it gives other people opportunity to show their skills. And they may not be household names on an international level, but they're real damn good arm wrestlers. And what do? You put them on the stage so they can show their, what they can do and stuff. And I like what you guys are doing. I think more people should do that. And like, don't get me wrong. I'm getting a pay-per-view tomorrow, East versus West. Don't get me wrong. But what you're doing, there's some stuff they do in Canada, a few things in the United States here. But what you guys are doing is giving somebody opportunity to say, hey, we got some good pullers here. You may not know them because they don't have a social media following, or because, hey, they're not constantly going to those big events that Ingen or Core Sports really tells them. However, what you do offer is an opportunity. And once you make good on that, then the sky's the limit. Do you agree or disagree?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if you look at East versus West, they tend to recycle the majority of the same pullers. You look at King of the Table, you're recycling the majority of the pullers. Now, don't get me wrong, that's what the arm wrestling purist wants to see. But the Tom, Dick and Harry who are at home, like the guys that might walk past and see us arm wrestling in a mall or see us arm wrestling in a pub, they're not bothered about watching Devon Lorrat. They just want to see good arm wrestling, good matches. So it could be Geordie against Paul Maiden. And okay, we're not two of the best guys in the world, like at the elite level, but we can give an amazing matchup, and you see that with boxing. So sometimes you've got to just look at a boxing card or these other successful sports and look at that model, because they're successful for a reason. Right. And on an undercard of a boxing match, you don't have the best well-known guys, but they're still on there. They're still earning the stripes. So it's a funny one. I mean, if you're an arm wrestling purist, yeah, you want to see Devon and Prudnik, you want to see Engin and the rest of the kids. But as a casual arm wrestling fan, does it really matter as long as it's a good match? I mean, we've got a kid called Josh Davis on our card, and he pulled over an Arm Wars. He's pulled with us an Arm Gods. He's done all this stuff with us, Arm Wrestling Gods as well. And he's just a war horse. I mean, they call him the Road Warrior. He just goes everywhere each week. Nice. And if you've not checked any of his matches out, mate, I'll send you some. I'll send you some over from the last Arm Gods event. His first round match was 1 minute 58 seconds, and in a dead wrist, and he went through 7 rounds like that. He ended up losing. He lost 4-3, but he does that week in, week out. He just travels. He doesn't really train. He just competes, and this guy needs to be seen. I mean, he went through, I don't know, Adrian Popescu. He was on the Arm Wars card.
Yes.
And he was meant to be pulling Ryan Bowen, and there was a bit of a fuff about it that, Bowen never pulled him. But I said to Josh Davis, listen, you get yourself a better match than what you've got, And he ended up pulling Popescu, and Popescu was an overwhelming favourite. And someone like Josh Davis, who's a complete unknown guy, against someone who's Romanian champion and very well known, and Joshua Davis beat him. He ended up beating him 4-2. And this kid is someone no one knows about. So these are the people we're trying to get out there to promote, to give them that opportunity to get on that East versus West or possibly King of the Tables and stuff like that. And it's just, you've got to look after your own, Jordan. You've got to look after your own, then you can look after everybody else. And these kids over here in UK and Ireland, we've got some immense people, some real good talents. And I just believe that if we can get a 90%, 95% homegrown card, and then we can bring in a little bit of the international flavour to get the eyes onto them, then they get noticed, and then they think, friggin' hell, that Joshua Davis is immense. That James Wall, that David Bradford, they're unbelievable pullers. Or why have we not heard about these guys before? And it's just because we've got them eyes on the sport from the other people. I mean, if we look at our YouTube analytics on our stuff, I mean, this is where we are. We're about 78, 85 to between 78 and 85% of our viewers are all UK and Ireland based. No, very, very little USA, very little Canada or anywhere else. So that shows that something like 1,500 subscribers that we've got are loyal to us because we're getting them all the time, and we've got our own market. We've got our own pullers. I mean, this last couple of years, like I said, there were no one on books. When Neil did his last BAF, British Arm Wrestling Federation 1, there were next to nothing there. Now, on the PAA books, we have 480 pullers now, like signed in from competitions. It's just expanding, but that's not just because of like the PAA or Arm Gods. There's other guys out there. I need to give them a shout out, like the Tuck Twins. They're doing an amazing job. You've got Circle of Arms, you've got Raw Arm Wrestling. There's quite a few little pop-up type promotions at UK, but they're all on the same page. They're all working hard together, and everyone's got the same goal in mind.
Well, when you talk about Arm Gods, not only that, but we're talking about quality matches too. So question for some of the guys that don't know out there, your camp, Club Torture, how many guys are in that camp?
Well, on training on Monday night, we had 24 in training.
Wow.
Yeah, we had 24, and there's in there you've got. I mean, if you include bringing James Wall in there, you've got 6 British champions. You've got past and present. You've got world champion lady in there, Aggie. You've got 20-time world champion Rustam Babayev. You've got a real mean team, and we've got some fantastic novices coming through as well. Because our novices as well. We did a novice championships, and there was entries wise, not pullers, but entries were 224 entries. Novices that were novice championships. Now that's disgustingly big for us as well. So we've got some giants as well. There was 2 guys at final at novice category, and both of them were 6'9".
Wow.
Yeah. 2 big farmers.
I like that. And giving back. And I'll give you an example how, I give back. So me and a couple of guys here in the States, in Oregon, because there's not a lot of tournaments that take place in the Pacific Northwest. So what we decided to do through, Facebook, we decided to create a Oregon rankings deal. And basically you got like your major weight classes, 54, 76, and so on. So you can challenge anybody within your weight class, or you can challenge anybody for the overall ranking. So let's just say Paul and I are pulling the 242 class, and I'm ranked number 5 and Paul's ranked number 2. If I beat Paul, I take his spot. Paul moves down 1 slot. But if I lose, no harm, no foul. And the reason why me and a couple guys came up with that is because, like I said, arm wrestling tournaments were few and far between, but we want to make sure that we still, needed a shot in the arm. we want to make sure if you guys are, want to compete, let's do something here, or else we always have to travel outside of our region to compete because there's little to none. So that's why I like what you guys are doing, Arm Gods, because it's like, okay, we got a lot of people here. Let's just 95% guys here. Let's do our thing, have a tournament, and then, you can challenge each other. But you know what? In that, quality matches, and you just keep getting better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. It's like because the level's rising, the level's rising. Everyone's just getting better and better. I mean, we've got Mindaugas Dulskas, who's God's heavyweight champion. He had a good match with Cedris, who just won World's WAF. He got third at IFA. He beat Wayne Withers. He beat quite a few other guys as well. He's an absolute monster. He's our God's super heavyweight champion. We've got high level guys now, like Carl Hutchinson. He's a monster. I was training with Carl last week. He's a monster. We've got Adrian O'Dwyer, who's like the biggest 105 kilo man I've ever seen in my life. He's just like ridiculously big. Obviously, then you've got Tom Holland, who's not so little anymore. He pulled James Wall at 88 kilos.
Right.
Remember, he was only pulling Wall like about 72 kilo. He could never even put weight on Tom Holland, and now he's 88 kilo, and he's like literally ripped to the bone still at that weight. He was unreal. We've got James Wall, Bradford's massive level. Like we've got a level. We're going to bust. I mean, we went to Worlds, Jody, IFA Worlds. We took our biggest team ever. We took 35 guys, and we took 25 medals, masters and seniors.
Wow. Now that's pretty good. How did you finish now in the Masters? You say you won Masters?
No. I got second in Masters.
Okay.
There's a kid from Azerbaijan. He got second in seniors as well. He beat Mindaugas. He beat Wayne Withers. Obviously beat me. And he was a bit of a freak, to be fair. It's about 147 kilos he weighed. And he was just like, just too much. Because I'm just an overblown fat heavyweight. So I was like pulling.
Me too.
yeah,
Me too.
With a dad bod. How old are you now, Jordy? How old are you?
I'll be 47 in February.
Yeah. So you're like a year older than me, aren't you? So
yes, I mean, I'm not like, and for me, it's just like, what do I want out of this sport besides doing this podcast show? And the other one I do with Ryan Espy on Monday mornings is that I want to go on that's national stage, collect a couple of national titles, or go on to the IFA Worlds, collect a Masters world title. I just got to go ahead and do it, or at least, pull on an international level on the other side, just so I can get a taste of what's arm wrestling about. So if I ever make it to an Arm Wars stage, or if I ever make it to a Arm God stage, that's a hint. I want to go over there and kind of, get the experience of, okay, well, I know what the guys in the States pull like. What about the guys across the pond? What I maybe can pick up some different stuff. I'm thinking, wow, I got to get a notebook and write this stuff down because, every section of the world pulls a little different. They train a little different. That's what makes our sport so great. And if you got 25, 30 guys coming to you guys' practice from Club Torture, besides wearing those nice looking cool jerseys you guys got from PAA, by the way, you guys are really, the knowledge you guys have is also awesome too. It's almost like if I were to go there, it'd be like a seminar. I would just do a lot of this and more of that and just listen, because what you guys do on the table is just awesome.
Man, anytime you want, you're more than welcome. More than welcome to come over. And if God's, decide that they want a little bit of the old chocolate thunder, then I mean, there's going to be a place. Hey, which arm you preferring still? Your left arm?
Yes. My right's still slump. It's just my left is my more dominant. So,
and where you put yourself? What sort of level are you? Like with who would I know that level sort of level you at?
As far as well, in the Hook rankings on Facebook, it's called the In the Hook rankings North America. I'm number 20th in the 242 pound class.
Yeah, that's pretty good in
left hand
in Canada. Yeah, that's pretty good indeed. Yeah.
So I mean, that's where I'm at as far as, I don't know if that answered your question or not, but that's where I am now.
Mm-hmm.
But I got a match coming up next month in about 4 weeks against Clayton Faulkner, a guy out of Canada, and then after that, I'm just going to train, and then kind of just sit back and see. I got my passport, so I already got that, and at this point, just saving some money so I can see, hey, do I get the opportunity to go across the pond? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Like I said, it's more of an invite, not just showing up. So we'll have to wait and see what goes on after that. So,
well, being a partner in the Arm Gods, Jordan, there would, there could be definitely be a match in there for you somewhere. 1,000,000%. We've got a lot of guys that would match up well with you. A lot of guys, especially left-handed.
I'm sure you guys got some killers, and that's what I want. And I try to tell people that I dubbed this year, 2022, as the year of opportunity, right? And I'm going to roll that over into next year. Opportunity, it's not about winning or losing. If you're so concerned about winning and losing, then you should probably do something else. We all want to win. We all got that. However, it's the journey. It's the training leading up to that. It's getting on the table and pulling and finding out, where do I stack up on an international level? I know where I'm at on a, state level, North America. I know where I'm at. But how do I really fare against somebody else from a different, country? That's what it's all about for me. Just trying, if this is not, a world, the Arm Gods, I mean, it might as well be. I'm on international soil. I'm the visitor. I get to eat some good food, look around and go, okay, now I got to get my mindset, because those guys, legit. I mean, they're so table savvy. You guys are. You're so table savvy that, I really got to bring my A+ game. And for that to happen, I just got to train super duper hard. And I'm willing to go ahead and do that. So if I ever get the opportunity, Mr. Maiden, I would love to go over there.
Well, I think that there's a certain guy called James Beats that you'd probably match up left-handed with. He's one of our rising stars. He's doing really well nowadays. He's about 4 years into sport. He was a slow burner. He's not took the world by storm, but he's getting better and better. So I think James Beats should be something that we could look at. I'll speak to Marcus and see what we can do.
There we go. And the Welsh Wolverine wants to know, hey, Jody, which Brit would you like to pull? I have no idea. I'm going to have to do my research, though. But I have no idea. But I'm around 105 kgs right now. So that's basically where I'm at. I kind of sit around there. So I don't know if that answers
perfect James Beats weight. That's James Beats weight. Yeah.
Well, there you go. See, so I'm sitting at 105 kilos. So, and I'm really wanting to do something like that. Next year, IFA Worlds will be either in Romania or Malaysia. Finland was an option, but for some reason, I'm kind of not hearing that as much anymore. So I think that was coming down to Malaysia or Romania. So I'd love to go there and see what I can do there. So we'll have to just see how it goes,
Well, Finland has just put the E for Europeans out now in May. So that's what's going on there. So that's why Finland ain't doing Worlds. They're doing Europeans in May. I went Malaysia. It'd be nice if Worlds was in Malaysia, but it's a long journey. Oh, fucking hell. I think I prefer Romania. It's a bit easier to get to for me anyway.
Right. Since I got you on the show, let me ask you, what are your thoughts on, and I don't want to make it political, but what are your thoughts on IFA and WAF and the split and that kind of things? I know some people, I got friends on both sides of the fence. I competed in IFA last year, took a second in the Masters and, left hand. And I know it wasn't the way I would like. It was here in the States. No big deal. 1 year after COVID. So not a lot of countries were flying. But this year was more. So I'm thinking, okay, it'll get better and better. But what are your thoughts on the two world championships kind of dividing like that?
Well, firstly, obviously, it's a bit of a shame. But divides happen. I think you've got to just get on it. WAF is the tougher one. There's pointless saying any different. It still holds the vast majority of the superstars. But EFA's, it's creeping up. It's getting better. I mean, you've got Teresitis, who pulled Europeans last year. You've got Wayne Withers going over. He's one of your best in your heavyweight 242s or whatever, supers guys now.
Yeah.
You've got Mindaugas Dulces. You've got some extremely high level guys who are pulling in there. So I think as it gets a little bit more notoriety and as time ticks on, then what you'll find is more guys will move from WAF. I mean, one of the biggest issues that I had with WAF personally is that in 2017 I was at WAF Budapest. I got second in Masters there, and Dean Bolt, he'll tell you, they stopped in the Host Hotel. And at the time, I didn't have a lot of money about me, so I booked my own place, and I saved about 300 quid. And when I got to the weigh-in, they actually fined me. They fined me 50. They fined me €50, or they was going to throw me out at competition. So
Really?
yeah, and Pascal Gerard did the same thing. They booked an apartment, saved themselves a few hundred quid as well, which is, a few hundred quid's a few hundred quid, and they fined him as well, and the people that he stayed with. So that they sort of give you the ultimatum of where you've got to stay,
Right.
and it's always like a bumped up super price. Now, depending on where it is and depending what sort of budget you've got, I mean, you're sort of being held to ransom whether you can compete or not. And with arm wrestling, we're a very niche sport as it is. None of us should be held to ransom. We should be able to, to go and come as we please, as long as we abide by the rules.
Right.
So the thing is with Ether, you can go in, you can book your own place. You have an hotel if you want to stay in there, or you can get your own hotel. There's no, you're not being ripped off with these massive country fees like WAF. We sent one guy, Gary Brown, and he got, I think he had to pay 350 euros out of his own pocket because they don't have a federation for WAF anymore.
Wow.
And then he had to pay whatever it was, another €100 for pulling both his arms. So just to enter the competition, it cost him €450. And that's the problem. They've sort of got you by your bollocks that if they're doing stuff like that. And, yeah, I'm not, like I said, I've pulled them both. They're both fantastic competitions. And in fact, this year, me and Dean, we actually was going to go to WAF and not EFA. We said we'd like to go back to WAF again. So Dean contacted, I think, is it Marion or someone like that, the guy, and he said, "Oh, well, what you've got to do, you're not banned, Dean, but you've got to contact Neil Pickup because he's the BAF, the head of what was the promotion for WAF." And then Neil said, "Oh, I've not been in touch with them for 4 or 5 years, or I'm having nothing to do with them." So Neil said that, and then that sort of made the decision for me and Dean because it would have been a lot of messing around. So then we went to EFA. Dean became world champion. I got second, and we went with the most successful team ever from the UK and Ireland. Boom, bang, pow.
See that? Speaking of, Dean wants to know, in the next couple of years, is there a dream match for you? If it is, who would it be?
Right, okay. Neil Pickup, the Battle of Britain.
There you go.
Me and Neil.
There you go.
Neil, if you're watching this in Turkey, if you're watching it, I know you're not in retirement. You train in your gym. You've still got 20 grams worth of equipment. You're doing your hand and wrist all the time. You're faking things doing pull-ups and press-ups. We know you're doing them. We know guys you train with. Just grow some bollocks. Get back in that supernatural skin. Come and face the mighty one, or Iron Paul, as I'm known nowadays. And let's get the Battle of Britain on. Arm Wars versus Arm Gods. Winner takes all.
There you go. And you know what? Have you noticed that too? Neil's been kind of slowly putting in snippets about him working up again. I'm thinking, and maybe I might have been overlooking him. I was kind of looking at the bigger picture. I'm thinking, is he making a comeback? Because normally he's just a guy in a suit doing the shows, producing shows, doing awesome work. And all of a sudden, he's, the fat lad's getting back into it. I'm thinking, okay, you wouldn't do that unless you're doing it for a reason. And
Jordan,
maybe he's coming back.
He's never stopped training, my friend. Let me tell you.
Okay.
Never.
Okay.
No way. Neil is too competitive. He's too much of an arm wrestler. He's too much of a warrior. I mean, no matter what, anyone might think of Neil. Let me tell you now, that guy is the best arm wrestler we've ever had from the UK and Ireland. He was around in a time where it was amazing. He's the best we've ever had.
Right.
And that's just how it is. But he's too competitive to ever let it go. But
I like that.
He's had a good dry bumming off me last few times. So, he might not want to come and face me. But again, if you're ready, Neil, let's bring it on one more time.
Oh, and we need to promote the heck out of that. I know Neil's busy these days and he's about to open up the Arm Wars house in March. But I'm telling you right now, he's super busy. But I'm telling you right now, I'll make sure I'll tag your name and his name in there so he knows, hey, Arm Gods coming soon. You know,
Oh, yeah.
The Iron Man. Here we go. I love it. I love it.
I'm calling you out, Neil, right now on Geordie's show. I'm calling you out. The Supernatural against the Iron One. Best of 7 rounds. It can be on your show or my show. It doesn't really matter. I know for a fact you're training. I know you are. You've never stopped. And I'm telling you now, one more time, one more go around, me and you, and then we can both retire.
Oh, yes. And you know what? Since you said that, when this is all said and done, I repost this on social media on Facebook. I will personally tag you and Neil and say, hey, Neil, Arm Gods, soon enough, my friend, soon enough. Get ready. And I want to see it go down. I'll have my popcorn. I have a pint of beer. I'm ready to watch this thing, you know? So,
yeah, like I always said, Jordan, tell your mothers, your brothers, your sisters, any significant others, just get just tell them all. But we cause some shit. I mean, obviously, I've gone back and forward with Neil for over 20 years. You know, we have banter, we have our moments, but the thing is, like, we're both athletes, competitors, and he'll look at this and it'll get him driven. This little conversation right now, he say it won't bother him, but it will. It'll fire him up. It'll fire him up because I can tell you now, I've gone 10% stronger just by talking into this camera, mentioning this match. I'm like that. I've gone 10% stronger.
That's what we need right now because Neil might be busy with East vs. West right now. He's probably asleep right now. But you know what? He's going to wake up in the morning, and I'm going to tag him. And the day of the event, he's going to look and go, wait, what? Because he has to – I think he's the announcer, if I'm not mistaken, in Turkey.
Yeah.
So you're going to wake up in the morning, Neil. You're going to see this. I'm going to tag you and Paul. He goes, hey, Neil, not to disrupt your day in Turkey, but you've been called out for a match, so be ready. I know that's going to trigger him, and he's going to be like, let me get through this event in Turkey. And then I'm going to reiterate that. I'm going to watch the show again. I'm going to go, I got you. Yeah. So it has to be at Arm Gods, yes?
Well, it'll be pay-per-view in UK and Ireland, that one. So we can split it between both things. I'm not greedy.
Yeah.
No, you know what? All joking to one side, for me, it would be an amazing matchup. Okay, like we've gone back and forward throughout the years, domestically, but it's I have nothing. I mean, it kills me to say it, but I have nothing for utmost respect for him as an arm wrestler, and you know what I mean. So he knows that deep down. We like I said, we have our moments every now and again, but deep down, I respect him for everything he's done and everything he's achieved. But for me, the answer to that question, you want me to be honest, Dino? Me and Neil pick up Battle of Britain one more time.
Well, who does Dean want to pull? What's Dean's legendary match? What if he's still in the chat, Dean? What would your match be? And why he goes ahead and types that in?
Don't be asking him questions like that, Jordy. I have to tell him off all the time. See, Dean's one of my closest pals in the sport, so obviously we spend a lot of time together. But every time he sees someone, it's like everyone's a star. So he stands there with his camera taking selfies, right. And you see him with a selfie. I mean, he could be like, Rustam Babiev, 10 selfies. Prudnik, 10 selfies. I just have to tell him off all the time. So, Dean, you're a world champion, Stop being a fanboy. I have to keep telling him.
Right. Yeah, if I see Dean, I'm not a champion yet. I only came in second at IFA World. So, for me, compared to him, I'm the one doing this to him.
No.
So
his head's big enough since he won that world title. Stop it.
Well, I tell you what. So, speaking of big heads, and we got, I saw the press conference today. I don't know if you got a chance to see it. Yeah, what's your take back? It's going to be one of the bigger events, tomorrow. My only issue is that when that event comes and goes, how do you top that? What are your thoughts of this monumental event tomorrow?
It's unreal, isn't it? I mean, it's all the matches that the purist arm wrestlers want to see. My only worry for the East versus West is that they have too many matches on, and they sort of, it's like giving you you have, how can I say, you've got all your favorite sweets in a bowl, and you get to eat every single one, but then there's none left at the end of it. You've nothing to look forward to. So I'd prefer to see 5 matches one month and then stick them on every month. So every month we've got a killer card, or every fortnight we've got a killer card, even if it's just 2 or 3 things. I prefer to see it like that, because the money's there for people to see it. The money's obviously there from the pay-per-views and the t-shirt signing and stuff like that. So yeah, they're monumental, but are they sustainable? Is it constantly sustainable? Are we going to be treated to this? Because I know the guys, like, some of them get $1,000, some of them get $3,000, some of them get $5,000, the flights, the hotels. Now, that's amazing. The guys deserve it. Every single one of them deserve every single penny that they get.
Nice.
Oh,
go ahead.
But my only worry is that sustainable? So would it not be better to have 4 matches one month, 4 matches another, and we still get to see all the matches? It's just that we know it gets to be sustained that way. I'm just scared of it leaving, to be honest. I don't want it to die. I mean, we've had billionaires in there. We've had Steve Kaplan, WAL, and he couldn't make it work. We had Robert Drenk, UAL, multimillionaire. He didn't make it work. So somehow we've got to find this sustainable business model. And if we do that, then we can have all these guys, these amazing superstars, what are at the East versus West, and we know we can continue to watch them all the time, instead of thinking, is it going to end? Is it,
Right. Well, we have a Hall of Famer in the chat named Cobra Rose. Congratulations, by the way. He's in the house.
Cobra. He's my boy. Yeah. Or I'm his boy. I think I'm one of his children.
Well, I'm his nephew, so it's all good.
Cobra, man. Awesome guy.
Getting back to Arm Gods, is there a limit to how many matches you have each event?
Not really. What we do in the first event, it's going to be the biggest of the events. There's going to be about 14 on. There'll be about 14 matches on in the show. This is just to showcase the first event, and then it will probably drop down to about 6, maybe 7. And just for the same reason, really, that we don't want to, having a show that's running for 4 hours and everyone gets bored and they get a sore ass, and we want enough time for people to like almost like a bite sized, so that if you want to watch it and you're going out on a Saturday morning with your wife and you think you turn telly on at 7 o'clock in the morning, you think, go on, I've got an hour and a half, but I can watch this 2 hours, that's okay. But when something's running on for 7-8 hours, you have to watch it, go back to it, watch it. It's a full day, and right. The people get busy in life. You've got families, kids, jobs. So we just want to make it a bite size. We just want to try and make everything perfect to keep it sustained. To sustain everything, just for the viewers to be, sustaining the viewers to watch it, for the arm wrestlers not to be hanging around all day, because yourself. If you're having 15, 20 matches and, the first match starts at, say, 1 o'clock afternoon and you're only on at 11 o'clock at night, you're drained, especially if you're an heavyweight guy. So we just want to make the experience good for everybody. And I think that's what us with Arm Gods is really. It's just, we're just trying to make the perfect thing for everyone. We're obviously going to have teething issues, but it's all trial and error.
Right.
Everything we're doing is trial and error.
And Cobra Rose, you're in the chat, but before you got on, I want you to go ahead and tell your buddy Neil Pickup tomorrow morning, because Paul, right before you got on, Paul sat there and said he called out Neil Pickup for a match real soon. So when you guys wake up in the morning, you tell Neil Pickup he has a surprise waiting for him when he wakes up in the morning. Yes, I like that. And there's a comment up here I want to highlight. I want your thoughts on it. It was where'd it go? It was about here we go. From Marcus Thompson. Said the big shows are lost money, whereas it's pure marketing. Offline is where the money is made. Your thoughts on that?
Well, Marcus is my partner in crime, and I know exactly where he's going with it. So basically, what he's saying to you is that the shows, the marketing piece to get the eyes to look at your product, to get involved within what you're doing. But he's talking about the behind the scenes stuff that we've got, which I'm not quite privy to talk about everything just yet. That's going to get talked about on the release of the website. But we're different than everybody else. Any other promotion out there, we're different. Now, okay, yeah, we're not getting these gigantic names in. Yeah, it's not necessarily our goal, as you already know. But like I said, little acorns, big trees grow. We're starting at the roots, and it could take us 2, 3, 4, 5 years, but we're looking at doing something different, majorly different than the norm.
Right. And
Yeah.
it's like a farm team. It's like I don't want to use we'll use Michael Todd's events he does. He has one coming up in 4 weeks, December 10th. And usually he puts on some guys who are real good but need that extra push to be known on a national stage. So you put in Paul in, he beats Ron Bath. Now he got that exposure. Goes to East versus West. He won his first match. Now he's back there again tomorrow, and he's hoping he can get a win. So it's something like that where, you know what, homegrown, take care of your own, just like you said, another opportunity. And I'm like I said, I can't say enough because some people in chat are not even aware that arm guys even existed, So, but there's some stuff up there. So be sure to subscribe to those channels and the PAA Community Arm Wrestling. Don't forget to like and subscribe there. There is a match with you and Stoica, yes.
Oh, fucking hell. Well, there's 2 matches with me and Stoica, actually. So, first match with Stoica, I beat him in 2019. And then the second match with Stoica, he beat me, but it was a bit of a training. We were going down for a training day. And then I got there, he was snarling with his weightlifting belt on, warming up. And we ended up having a pull, and the bastard beat me. So, yeah, so me and Stoica have got history as well. But he's another fiery guy. But I've not heard much of a peep since Ryan Bowen gave him a good old ginger spanking. So, yeah.
What about your Christmas tour? I'm supposed to ask you about your Christmas tour.
Oh, see, is this Marcus or is it Dean?
That was Dean.
Right, okay. So he's letting all the cats out the bag. So Big Dean is dressing up as Santa Claus, and we're going doing 12 days of Christmas. I'm heavily involved with a few charities as well, and I'm going to be Dean's elf. We're going round. We're offering £500 to anyone who can beat Dean on the left arm. We're travelling from city to city in the UK. We've got our routes pretty much sorted out and our dates planned, and yeah, we're just looking at getting a few different people involved in our wrestling that way, and we're hitting the Christmas markets and lots of different stuff. Like I say, it's in a different little thing.
Can you see this next question that got highlighted?
I can. Corey Candace. He sent a video in the chat earlier. Actually, Corey, he's from England, and he was saying, well, pretty much, Peter Andre. Do you know who he is, Peter Andre?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, he's there, stood there with his top off like that because he's like a pretty good looking Greek guy, this Corey, and he was like doing some like really sort of erotic poses. He's a bit of a strange guy, but apparently, Jody, he's got a little wee willy winky, unlike yourself, who's very well known for having a giant black mamba in his trousers. Is that true?
So the question was like, how do you think you do well against a match with Ryan Bowen? I'm assuming he means Bowen.
Yeah, I think I've got the beating of Ryan Bowen. I'll be. I did some training with him. Side table means nothing. He beat Stoker. Granted, I've been through an heavy training cycle myself. We got it on a little bit, and I had a good feel of him. And me and Ryan Bowen actually pull very similar. We have a very similar style, very similar in genetics and wrist length of arm. And when you just a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger in the same areas as your opponent.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where I am with Ryan Bowen, and that was around Arm Wars time. I mean, obviously, he's improving as we've seen, and we're going to find out tomorrow night how good he has got. But yeah, I think I'd have the beating of Ryan, but I respect Ryan. I do. I genuinely like Ryan Bowen. He's an hard worker. He was never a superstar from the start. He's constantly grinded and worked hard, and you can only respect people who do that. So again, people say he's delusional, but is he? Because I mean, end of the day, he keeps just knocking them little people off that chalkboard, and I wish him all the best. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't say anything else other than I think I'll beat him, and that's it.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Well, my friend, it's been an hour. I got some other stuff I got to do. I know it's like what, almost 11 o'clock over there.
Yeah, we're getting there. 11 o'clock now, bud. Yeah.
I want to go ahead and make sure you get some rest in that way because I'm excited for tomorrow. Guys, East versus West, you saw the press conferences today. Now we just got to sit back and watch the event. But first and foremost, make sure you subscribe to Arm Gods. Make sure you subscribe to PAA Community Arm Wrestling. You'll see Dean, Welsh. You'll see all Paul Maiden, all the boys there. And check them out because they're doing great things with Arm Gods. And who knows, maybe one day you'll see your boy Chocolate Thunder walk over there and say, hey, I'm in the house. But Paul, once again, thank you for staying up late and being a guest on the show today.
No, thank you for having me, Jordy. Really enjoyed myself. Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll keep in touch. And send me all the information and stuff, and I'll go through and stuff, and we'll keep in contact.
Yeah. Armgods.com, baby. Subscribe.
There it is. Paul, we'll talk to you soon, buddy.
Take care, brother. Bye-bye now.
Take care. Everybody, take care.